we were laughing at the first 16 years after the and we have been talking about doing conversations for years.
Yeah, that's one of the problems.
Council member Gregory Elegon. Concerning the race this season is the. So how we're going to structure this forum is I've asked each of the candidates to select a question that they would like to answer. But first, then the other opponents will have a chance to respond, and then we'll go down the line. But first, I'd like to begin with opening statements. So I'm going to start on this end.
Aloha and good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the forum, and thank you to our host for organizing it. Please, let's give her a round of applause. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Gregory Elegon. I was born in the Philippines and I moved here when I was 7 years old. I grew up here, and when I graduated from high school, I decided to enroll into the Air National Guard. And I was in for 6 years, and when I came back, I decided to go to school for accounting, and then after getting involved in student government, I wanted to make a difference. And I decided to run for council member at 25 years old. I became the youngest council member ever elected in Hawaii County at 26, and been in council ever since. I've been in for 2 terms, and I've been in for 4 years. Now, I feel that I can make a big impact, and the reason why I decided to run for a state senate is for a better tomorrow. And I need a plan for a better tomorrow, because it doesn't just happen. And when I started to think about it, I realized that you really need to put your heart into it. And when I was thinking about the issues, the best thing I realized I needed to do was be able to let people know what my platform is. And my platform is HEART. And what HEART stands for is H is health, E is education, environment, employment, A is affordable housing, R is resiliency, and T is transportation. And HEART is my plan for a better tomorrow. And I humbly ask for your support. Thank you.
Aloha. Aloha. I'm Fred Fogel, and I'm running to give you a choice at the polls. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a libertarian. Okay? It's not a bad word, it really isn't. I tried to talk the Libertarian Party into getting a nice local Wahine to run, but we couldn't find any. So you're stuck with this guy who looks like a Duck Dynasty reject. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Education, BS, Industrial Engineering, Penn State, MS, Systems Management, USC. Experience, well, the Vietnam War was going on back then, and instead of getting drafted, I decided to join the Marine Corps. That was kind of weird. Yeah. Flew with them. Flew F-4s, or flew in F-4s. They transferred me off here to Kaneohe, and then Tricky Dick Nixon pulled the plug on that one. I got stuck in the early 70s, right here in Hawaii. Realized it was the best place in the world, and stayed. Okay. I've been on the Big Island about 10 years. Actually, I moved here when I retired because I couldn't afford to keep living on Oahu. And BI doesn't stand for Big Island, it really stands for Best Island. Okay, yeah, I have heart too. And also, I was in the Hawaii Air National Guard, just like Gregory was. Actually, my last job was as advisor to the Adjutant General, 2-star, in the areas of quality, process improvement, and planning. So I worked there about 6 to 8 years and then retired. Silly service, and have been retarded ever since. Now, I have a tie here. So Russell also, because he's a graduate from Penn State too. So amazing, you know. It's a small world, it really is. I'll talk more about my platform later, and it's great to see you here and have you take an interest in what we have to say. Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Russell Ruderman. A lot of people say Ruderman, but I'm actually a Ruderman than most. I also have a degree from Penn State. My degree is in biology. I thought I would be a biologist or a doctor. I got sidetracked by the natural foods industry. And that does lead to my other job, which is I started Island Naturals Markets about 18 years ago. We now have 3 stores and over 200 employees. And I'm very proud of that last part. And last year I got the Small Business Association. I was awarded State of Hawaii Business Person of the Year. And I'm particularly proud of the 200 employees, more than any financial aspect of the business. I think business, and for me politics too, it's more about people than money and things. And then I ran for the State Senate District when it opened up. 4 years ago, there was a new State Senate District created here in Puna because Puna had grown so fast. So after the reapportionment, there was a new State Senate District, which I ran for and won. I'm very proud of, besides my accomplishments in life, I'm very proud of the accomplishments I've done in the 4 years I've been in office. Some of my highlights related to Puna is I got the ball rolling on a new Puna Regional Library, which then I'm looking at 2 Puna regional libraries because Puna is just too big for one. I think that's going to be a wonderful tool for education and lifting ourselves out of poverty here. Another really big accomplishment, I got major funding for the Puna Community Medical Center to expand into an emergency room and a hospital here in Puna.
Yes.
Which, as some of you know, we're the size of Oahu, and there's no emergency room in our district. I fought very hard for charter schools in particular. I consulted quite a bit with Principal Hirakami when I was on the original campaign trail, and I've been an advocate for charter schools. In fact, 2 of the other major funding achievements I've got, one was for a commercial kitchen at the Volcano School of Arts and Sciences, and another is a commercial kitchen at Kua Okala. And those are big steps forward in terms of one of my main areas of focus, which is local foods, trying to increase the amount of local foods that we grow and produce in the state. And the biggest market that's unavailable to us is the school system, and it's very hard for a local farmer to sell to the food system. So the charter schools will be leading the way, especially here on this island, will be leading the way in terms of local foods in the school. And one of the bills I was able to pass was called Farm to School Bill, which established a position to help procurement of local foods into the schools. Another bill I was able to pass when we were facing our lava threat a couple years ago was a bill to require homeowners insurance to be issued, even in the face of a declaration of emergency. Because at that time, real estate sales had gone to zero. Some people needed to move and couldn't sell their home because they couldn't get homeowners insurance. So I appreciate the applause, but I'm afraid I don't have time for it. I was very involved in the 2 disasters that hit our neighborhood. I was really advocating for the election that got interrupted here. I was advocating for all of our districts to be able to vote. And I've been advocating for Albizia control since even before Hurricane Isabel, and even more so since then. I'd also like to see a lot more economic development here in Puna, and I have a plan for an agricultural park here. Thank you.
Okay, so for the next phase of the forum, I think we're going to start back on this side. And if you selected your question that you'd like to answer, you'll have 2 minutes, and then each opponent will have a minute to respond.
All right, I guess I'm designated as first, as always. Okay, so the first question that I chose is, let me take a look. How will you support charter schools? How will you support charter schools? So that's the question, and then I make a statement.
You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Thank you. I have a special place in my heart for a charter school. My sister graduated from a charter school, particularly this campus, Haas. And I really want to make sure that charter schools get the funding that they need. Currently, the only way to get funding is you need cooperation from the decision makers that's going to allocate those funds. And as of right now, I have the support of the Senate President and the majority. With that support, I'm able to pull money to the Big Island and provide those fundings that's needed for charter schools. And I will fight very hard to make sure charter schools gets their fair share. Thank you.
All right, 1 minute addition to that. How would I support charter schools? It's really pretty simple. Okay? Charter schools can do it for half the price of a regular school. Let's all make all schools charter schools, for heaven's sakes. That makes sense to me. Why not do away with the state school board? Okay, that's $1 million a year you're saving in salaries alone. And make local island school boards, okay, comprised of principals, public and private, to run the business in their island. Every island has a different flavor, okay? That's how you support the schools and the charter schools, in my opinion.
Thank you. I've been a strong advocate for charter schools my entire 4 years there. It's not quite as simple as being friends with any one person. There's actually a lot of legal obstacles along the way, and there's also obstacles that come down when we try to divide up the pie. Everyone fights over it, and the public schools have not been that interested in putting money towards facilities for charter schools. I introduced a bill that would allow facilities funding for charter schools, and while that bill didn't go through, a bill the next year that I supported does allow facility fundings for charter schools, but it doesn't require it as yet, so we're just one tiny step closer. And I supported our charter schools by getting money for some of their desperate needs. For example, the 2 commercial kitchens I mentioned, I made them among my top priorities. We get to identify certain priorities for what's called a granted aid request. And each year I've been in office, I've made a charter school GIA request one of my top 3 priorities, and I've gotten major funding for them in 2 cases. Thank you.
All right, so Fred, now we're ready for your question.
Oh my gosh. Do I get 2
You
minutes?
get 2 minutes and
Okay, my question. How do you support Hawaii's energy independence? It looks like a lot of little circles over there. Okay, Hawaii has the potential for alternate energy more than any other state in the nation. We have the best potential in the whole world for that matter, okay? We got the sun, we got geothermal, okay, it's not a bad word. We got tides, we got biomass, we got it all, okay? We can do it. Why aren't we doing it? Because HELCO is a government-run monopoly. Pure and simple. If you put competition into the mix, you would get lower prices. What does Helco do? It buys power from wind energy down at Calais for half what it sells it for. It buys energy from the geothermal plant for half of what it sells it for, and passes that cost on along to you. If we're going to make anything community oriented, make the distribution system. There's a co-op on Kauai. What does it cost people in Kauai? 2 cents less a kilowatt hour than it does here. That's nothing. A lot of people are saying, do the co-op thing. The way I look at it is bottom line. What does it cost you for energy? And how do you get that? Self-independence. You do it with competition. Pure and simple.
Thank you. I myself am a big advocate for the co-op model. On Kauai, they're only 2 cents cheaper, but another way to look at that is their rate have gone down since they've become a co-op, whereas the other 3 islands' rates have gone up since they've become a co-op. I myself am one of the 12 board members for the Hawaii Island Energy Cooperative, which is an organization that we formed in hopes to be able to buy Helco. We're hoping the next era merger deal is not approved, and Hawaiian Electric might choose to sell Helco. We have reasons to believe that they might, and we are in a position to buy it. And it's one meter, one vote. You get to elect your board of directors, and there's several advantages, and I'll speak quickly. First of all, the 20% or so guaranteed profit that goes to a utility comes back to the ratepayers instead, or it results in lower rates. Another, the thing that's not very obvious is that in the traditional utility model, they have an incentive to spend as much money as possible because they make money on how much they can justify spending. And I'll wrap it up. Under co-op model, that incentive is removed, and a reasonable incentive is there instead, which is to save your ratepayers and co-op members as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I just gotta say, you read my second question. I was like, wow, you read.
Strike it, man.
Well, I actually, one of the things that I really need to point out is that not only do we have a lot of renewable sources here in the Big Island, there's no reason why we can't be sustainable. There's also looking at biodiesel for cars, electrical vehicles to be sustainable as an island for energy. There's many ways to do it. We have wind, solar, geothermal, and I support all of those renewable resources, and that's what I would do. Thank you.
Russell, for your question, you have 2 minutes.
All right. I'd like to address the question about funding sources. There's a question up there. Where do your money come from?
Where does your money come from?
Myself, I have run for the 2nd time in a row a very grassroots campaign where 90+% of my funding comes from Big Island residents, individuals here on our island. And that's a little bit unusual in the sense that a lot of folks get their money from large corporations and off-island corporations. So the wonderful advantage of being able to fund a campaign from grassroots sources is you get to represent the people of your district. When you get elected, you're not beholden to anyone else. What I'm beholden to is you folks. And there's no question about it, there's no gray areas. When I make a decision, I make it on what's best for the people of Puna, who are my supporters, and for the people of the state of Hawaii. And as you may know, corporations versus people is the big issue in politics these days. Yeah. And I'm on the side of the people. Thanks.
I'll give you a break and answer next. Okay, where does my money come from? It comes out of my pocket. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't take donations in any form or fashion from the party or from individuals or from corporations. And oh, by the way, when you're talking where does the money come from, it ought to be transparent. You ought to know. Where does this money come from? And it shouldn't be one hidden organization that somebody can contribute to, and you don't know who that person was. That's not right, okay? There should be names to those dollars. Now, as far as owing anybody anything, I'm like Russell. I just owe the people I serve. I don't owe anybody anything. Other than that, thank you.
So first of all, when I first got elected, I was publicly funded. I had to give $5 from each individual. And after that, I had to get a signature from registered voters. When I collected all those $5 in signatures, I turned it into campaign spending, and I got my public funding. That's how I got in as a council member the first time around. I'm a publicly funded candidate. I got over so many signatures, walked so many streets to get that funding. Now, when it comes to my Senate campaign, I got money from people, I got money from unions, like the laborers union that supported me and funded my campaign, as well as other unions that I hope that I can also get their support. Unions, thank you. Can I expand? Would the audience allow me to expand a little bit more on where I get my funding? If,
15 seconds, quick.
okay, I also, one of the things that people have always accused me of, and you can look at campaign spending because it is transparent, is that I've gotten money because of my position on GMO from seed companies. I have never once gotten money from Monsanto, from DuPont, or any seed company. I just want to make that clear that I've never received money from any seed company, and you can check the campaign spending report because everything is transparent. Thank you.
So I guess in the interest of fairness, would you like another 30 seconds?
Yeah.
I'll take 15. 2 years ago, when one of my opponents was running for county council, he had an article in the paper talking about how remarkable it was that 90% of his funding came from Honolulu, even though he was running for Hawaii County Council. Now, he hasn't told us where his funding comes from this time, but 2 years ago when he was a council candidate, it was newsworthy how 90% of his money came from Honolulu. He hasn't addressed that to us today.
Okay, I don't like to take shots at anybody. I like to just say positive things. And my 15 seconds is public funding of campaigns should be out of the public's pocket, not the general fund. I don't know if you know that, but the money that goes into financing these campaigns comes out of the general fund. Okay? You put it on your ballot. Okay, I want $3, $5, whatever it is to go to political campaigns. Well, it's not coming extra out of that person's taxes, it's coming out of the general fund. And I don't think that's right, personally. And I also think that instead of charging somebody $250 if you're not going to comply with funding limits as established by the state, charge them $25,000 for heaven's sakes, okay? And put that money into a pot and give it out to all the politicians who want public funding. What's so hard about that?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So for the final phase, we're going to have closing statements. You each have 3 minutes.
That's
You
it?
guys want to? What?
Closing already?
More questions? Yeah.
We can do one more round real quick.
Another question?
Oh.
Gay rights?
Right.
Look at all those dots.
I think alternative.
Alternate route out of Puna.
Alternate retiree out of Puna.
Go
Looks
with
like that's one.
Okay.
How about pro-life and discrimination on marijuana cigarettes?
How about zero waste? I got a bunch of them. Zero waste.
Count them up.
There's zero waste over here. Zero
There's
waste there.
two zero waste.
Add them all up. And over there too.
I think where the
The
dots are.
highest
right
dots
there.
is for the route.
Use the most dots.
Use the most dots.
Those dots are right under others.
So we're gonna start Russell. What you said?
Isn't it good?
Alternate route out of
Okay.
Puna.
I've been fighting for an alternate route out of Puna for over 10 years. We got money, Representative Joyce and Bonaventure and myself got money, $15 million in the current budget for the state to do an alternate road out of Puna. The original idea was to give that money to the county so that the county could develop an alternate route out of Puna. I think about 30,000 people in Lower Puna support an alternate route, and one organization, Shipman Estates, opposes it. But our council member opposes it also and blocked it from going to the county. We had $15 million we wanted to give to the county, but the county did not support it. So as far as I'm aware, everybody supports an alternate route out of Puna except for Shipman Estates. And it's been my suggestion for a long time to address some of the concerns about it, that we make that route a pedestrian and bicycle route. It would be a wonderful attraction. It would be good for the health of our community. It would take cars off the road. It could also be open for buses and for emergency evacuations. And that would address the concern of Shipman Estates, which their stated concern is farm theft. So there's not going to be a lot of farm theft on pedestrians and bicycles, and that would be a way to address everybody's concerns.
Thank you. Of course Puna needs an alternate route, okay? Identify the roadblocks, whether it's Shipman or it's a macadamia in that place, okay? And run it out railroad. There's already a road there, for heaven's sakes. Open it up. Now, I noticed somebody wrote Mackay there. It would be nice to have a road along the ocean to showcase how beautiful it is here. But my gosh, use what you got, open it up, and get rid of the roadblocks.
Well, first of all, I didn't know my opponent can just really speak on my behalf. I've never opposed an alternative route. For one thing, I believe I funded and actually did railroad with the help of the county and the mayor's administration. We did more progress in alternative routes than the state has ever done. And when it comes to Joy Sanaventura's funding, you can say you can spend 15 million here, but you need the cooperation of DOT to be able to actually spend that, which was actually allocated for only repairs and maintenance. Right now, if you want to go from HPP to Hilo, we don't own railroad, the government does not. So how are we going to use that money to even build a route when it's only for repair and maintenance? You have to own something to repair and maintain a project.
Eminent
So
domain.
when it comes to funding 90% from Oahu, when I was a council member, I've never even had a fundraiser in Oahu. So if I have that much clout, then I should be the next state senator because I can actually bring money to Puna. So I just want to make that clear that I support alternative routes. I set up a task force and we're actually opening up subdivisions that has only one way in and out. Cul-de-sac subdivisions that 2,000 individuals could potentially be blocked in time of the disaster. And we're putting funding in that. So when it comes to alternative routes, I'm a big supporter. If anyone can even do it, I have the partnership with Shipman to even discuss and possibly move that forward. How are you even going to make progress when somebody is not willing to cooperate? We need collaboration, we need cooperation to get anything done. Thank you.
Eminent domain.
All right. for closing statements. Each of you will have 3 minutes. I'm going to pass the mic down here.
Well, thank you all. I want to especially thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate what it takes to give up one of your evenings to come spend the night talking politics. And I appreciate very much the ASC and the host organization here, and Leah and McLean, and everyone who made this happen. I've gotten some important projects started, and I've got the respect of my colleagues in Honolulu, and it's very important for me to see some of these projects through. It's also really important for me that Puna has an independent voice that will fight for Puna, that understands what it means to stand up when it's time to stand up, and not just follow orders, because most of the folks over there, they're not going to give Puna anything. We have to fight for him. And it's, I just want to make a couple, I wish we'd have gotten into more of these issues here. I want to make it clear that I am pro-choice 100% of the way. I'm pro-women's reproductive rights, and I'm pro-marriage equality. And I encourage you guys all to compare that, because those are two state-level issues that still get fought over. I'm very proud of the accomplishments that I've done in the legislature in the last 4 years. And I invite you to compare me to anyone else who's been in office for 4 years and their accomplishments. So I just want to thank everybody for coming here. I believe I deserve a right to continue being Puna's senator. I think I've done a good job and take the job very seriously. I think I have the skills, both people-wise and otherwise, to be a good senator for Puna, and I thank you for your support.
Okay. You're not first up, you're last. That's good. Libertarians, they're for individual freedoms and more efficient government. Period. Okay? That's what we're for. What does that mean? That means getting government out of your face, for heaven's sakes. That means pro-life. That means this decriminalization of marijuana. It means gay rights. Okay? It means that if you're not messing with somebody else's freedom, why should the government be messing with yours? You ought to have the freedom to do as you choose. But it's also for a streamlined government. How about term limits for all politicians? Not just the mayor, the senators, the representatives. Okay? How about voter-approved pay raises at the polls? Okay? What is it with voting yourself a pay raise? You're not paying your salary. You are paying the salary. You ought to approve it at the polls. Okay? Now, government makes a poor parent. Some would say abusive. Stop trying to act like a parent. Okay? Start being more efficient. How about balancing the budget, for heaven's sakes? We have so much unfunded liability, it's unbelievable. It's in the billions. What does that mean? It's a liability for the retirement and the health care of public workers. The 3 biggest employers on the Big Island are, in order, the state, the county, and the federal government. That is not right. It ought to be somebody besides government, for heaven's sakes. That's what happened to Puerto Rico. 30% of the people were government employees. Look where they're at now. Okay, you know, it's really more common sense, and it really takes something that the legislature's not going to do. Okay? How am I going to accomplish that? I'll be a voice in the wilderness. Okay? Somebody has to plant the seed, and perhaps somebody else will water it, it'll grow into a tree, and will bear fruit. Okay? But if nobody plants that seed, there ain't going to be no fruit. Aloha.
Thank you everyone for coming here. And I just want to first state that we do need to think about bringing people together in Puna. There's a lot of things that we focus on, and I think we need to focus and accept and support our big diversity. Because the thing is, one of my strengths is bringing people together. And how I've done that is I brought the Puna watch together from all the different watches, hosted and funded the Puna Resiliency Fair. And when it comes to having a backbone, in my first term, I went against the most powerful person in the county, which was the mayor. I went against the tax hike that he proposed. And you know what happened? This day, he still supports me. We went at it, we debated, and now we're still friends. And you know, when it comes to the Senate President, we're friends too. He supports my candidacy. And when it comes to standing up for what's good for Puna, I have been doing that since I've been elected. And when it comes to integrity, I have been looking at the issues from both sides and deciding from the facts that I've gathered and made a decision. So if you're talking about backbone, I went and fought against the heavy hitters and still am able to work collaboratively with them, and I'm still able to bring the funding here for Puna, and I will do the same thing in the state because I'm able to get people together, and I'm able to also follow through those projects and make it happen. So I ask for your support because Puna needs somebody who's effective and who has integrity and who remembers the people while doing his job with respect and aloha. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all three of you gentlemen for coming tonight. Can I have everybody come inside and have a seat? We're ready to begin the second portion of the evening. So tonight, for the State House of Representative race, unfortunately, our incumbent is unavailable to come. She's in Honolulu. And the other candidate, Mohe Stevens, had prior obligations. But tonight we do have Auntie Luana Jones, who so I'd like to give her some time to state her position, and we're just gonna go like that.
Can I just go through the motion? Okay, aloha everyone. Aloha. In case you don't know me, my name is Luana Jones. I've been a resident in Puna for 34 years, born and raised on Oahu. Moved here in '82. We've raised our children here, and today we have, counting Hanai, 5 children, adult children and their spouses, and 17 grandchildren. And my granddaughter agreed to come with me because she just graduated from this school. Tiana, say hello, Tiana. Just say hello. She doesn't like to talk. So I was raised on Oahu, and I was raised in the practice of Hanai. And Hanai is when we take care of other people. And so I've been so well cared for that I actually take care of a lot of, have taken care of a lot of young people. I guess he's my Hanai too back then, one of the latest ones. But, so I'm applying for this position. Yes, I'm nervous. To serve as State House Rep. I didn't know exactly, I'm a quick learner, so when I went down to file papers, I didn't want to fight with Joy, so I filed as a nonpartisan. And then I went home and read the election campaign information and found out that nonpartisans have to have 10% of the total vote in the primary, one way. And I don't think that's going to happen. Or more votes than the candidate with the least votes of the other parties, of the parties. So I'm hoping that I will get more votes than the candidate with the least votes. So I learned a good lesson there. I've been mostly in education. Actually, I've been involved in a lot of the different issues throughout the 30-something years here, mostly voluntarily. And I heard a couple of people talk about education, and mine's not so much education as experience. You know, I guess you could say I'm a professional volunteer. But I'm in my last semester to get my associate's degree at Hawaii Community College, and then I'll be free to have a job, a paying job. And I'm hoping that this will be it, but you know, so be it, whatever happens. I know I went to Joy's presentation last week, and you know, she's working hard, and she's a smart girl. And so some of the things that I've done is I was involved in lobbying the legislature for a county vocal school, and also for the split of Pahoa High and Elementary School. I was involved helping Helene Hale get the gym secured because the funding wasn't secured. I've been involved in the schools, and some of my brags is the Na'ali'i program that the elementary school is now named after, Na'ali'i. The Puna Ole, the Hawaiian ensemble that Puna is very famous for, they've recently disbanded, I think, but they were a big boast of Puna, the Puna Ole. I was in the Puna Parks Committee back in 1997, and it took 17 years to get the park that we have now at Pohoiki. And I've been working with Russell lately, but I'd like to pick up the ball with Russell to get a safe swim area down at Pohoiki. Currently, I help run a food pantry, emergency food pantry in Pahoa. I'm a student at HCC, and I do community placement for a nonprofit, for people that need to do community service. Some of the issues that you heard about from the three guys that were recent, just up here. One was about supporting charter schools. I don't know if you all know, but this school is a model charter school. Model charter school. I don't know that. And I was on the board from 2002 to 2003. But I don't know that much, but like what they do, Steve is an excellent business manager and able to build this and roll over funds and build this. Also, they umbrella the community, the little community schools, so that they get the monies for them, for those students, and then help them with their administration. You know? So this is a model charter school. I'd like to advocate for equal funding for charter schools, and at least a minimum amount for facilities. And I'm not sure how it works because I've never done it before, but in 2005, when Russell Pokemon asked me to run and Helene was supporting me, I actually went over to the legislature a few times and learned, how it works, and got to meet people, and, you get paid positions to help you do things. You don't have to, paddle the canoe alone. And, like Gregor said, networking is huge, so, where was it? Anyway, getting back to charter schools, yes. In the Board of Education, recently, they now have a Department of Native Hawaiian Education within the Board of Education. So that's a baby step, but what we really wanted was a separate Native Hawaiian Board of Education. But, it's a baby step, and a lot of the things that our representatives were able to bring back home are little steps towards where we want to go. We heard about alternative energy. I personally support mini grids because if, chaos set in, the economy collapsed, they went out of business, mini grids could survive. And also public utility, like Russell mentioned. Currently, we have OTEC, and apparently it's not cost effective. That's why they're not promoting more ocean thermal energy conversion. But in the islands, we're surrounded with water. And, maybe we just need to make baby steps towards ocean-generated energy. And maybe we're raising the engineers that are going to develop and create ocean-generated energy. Anyway, laws. What are some of the other issues? Oh, I just wanted to talk about agriculture, transportation. When I came in, I didn't see that board, and so I only stayed here, but the little dot next to other, that's my little alternative routes in Puna. And I think that's really important that we have alternative routes in Puna. That way, if there's an accident, that there's other ways to get home. Because you all know sometimes there's been accidents in hours. On agriculture, I just want to share something that the late Uncle Robert Kiliho'omalu, when the lava was coming down, he felt the urgency and so on. He asked us to put together a meeting, so we called kupuna, aunties, young people, and we all went to Kalapana. And he said something that I got to keep in mind, whether, no matter what, this is what we all need to do. And the kupuna, they see things so simply. And he said, wherever get land, where nobody building, or, wherever get vacant good land, we gotta plant fruit trees, So whether it's along the highway, if you have time, I notice there's more papaya trees along the roads. But you can't go wrong, and that's organic food, planting fruit trees. About the laws, working in the state legislature, I was reading the literature, and apparently, only 20%. Less than 20% of what they work on every year gets to the governor's office, becomes law. So, that's a lot of energy, a lot of work for, I'm not sure, but I'm thankful for what our representatives brought home. It was quite a bit. But for myself, I would like to use the position to have the authority to organize the community, to meet the community's needs, assess what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what are our priorities, and how can we all work together? We can address all of these issues. I guess that's all I have to share, but I have a brochure there. It has my number. You're welcome to call me. I'll be working. It's just I did it this morning. I'm not really done. It's temporary. I'm going to be working on it. I'm working on a website. But you're welcome to call me or email me and talk story. So thank you for coming, and thank you, Leah and Gail, Steve, all of you for putting this on and coming. It shows your concern, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
all so much for coming. This is Gail Clark. She's the fourth president of Arts and Sciences Center. She's
Thanks, Leah. This is our very first venture out into this realm. It's been very interesting. I really appreciate everyone that came out this evening to show their support for community-based learning. That's what we're all doing this evening. We do have a survey that's on the clipboard at the back desk. If you have a minute and you could fill it out and just tuck it under the clipboard, that would help us with our specific measures that we use for trying to get some grant funding through here. I'd also really like to thank the candidates that are here, and also know that Joy wasn't here tonight, and many of us heard her last week speaking at the community meeting. I was so thrilled to see so many people come out and listen. We do care, and we care, as you can see from this audience, about a huge range of issues. So hopefully this will help our candidates also know what we want to hear more about. And we'll make sure that the folks that aren't here get to see what the questions were so they know what came up at this meeting. I also know for sure that on Thursday, Danny Paleka will not be with us. That's why we changed the poster from meet the candidates to hear from the candidates. And they were invited to send a representative or send material. So that's happening to various degrees. But you guys coming out, showing what questions you want answered, it's fabulous. Thank you very much.